Okay, hello everyone. So today I'll try to use some time to talk about what I've been working on in the past few years, connecting you between what we can do with digital thermometers and fighting climate change. So I guess I don't have to tell you about how climate change affects us because there's so many talks about it already. So I'm just going to run into another analogy. But according to Environment and Climate Change Canada, in the early years, I'm saying 1960s to around 1980s, the chances of us having a white Christmas is around 68%. Okay, and then the other statistics from around 2000s to 2021, the chances of us having a white Christmas in Toronto drops to 40%. So I just want to remind you, last month, quite close to a month ago, we had a very special Christmas. It's not a white Christmas, but it's a foggy one. So even in Canada now, we're seeing like a lot of visually effects of global warming and climate change. So that means we need to do something ASAP to try to relieve the effects of climate change. So how do you limit climate change? So I'm listing some things that we can do individually here. So let's say we can save energy at home, carpool when possible, and also consume less. So what else can you think of? Anyone? Yes, thank you. We can recycle and reuse containers of food that we consumed, that we usually do. And a similar idea, when we use energies, we actually also waste some of them. So for example, cars and trucks, they run on gas. The engines are able to convert 1/3 of energy to move forward. Another 2/3 are actually lost, and a good chunk of it are released as heat. So in a process, there are always some energies that are converted to something else, such as heat here in the car engines. And what if I tell you, just like recycling compost and plastics, these waste energies can also be recycled? And what if I tell you now the working principle of this technology is already known for 200 years? The application is currently hiding in your kitchen, actually, which is this. So you may have seen it sometime last month when you're cooking turkey. It's these kitchen digital thermometers that we stick the tip into our turkey. So when you put this tip in a turkey, and the other end of this wire is outside the oven, you can read the temperature inside your turkey. So with this material that we call thermoelectric materials, having a temperature difference in this wire can generate electricity enough to read the temperature. So this is a phenomenon that is called the Seebeck effect, and it's the basis of the thermoelectric research that I'm working on. So some of the benefits of these thermoelectric devices are they don't really need to there's little to no maintenance of them, because essentially there's no moving parts of them. So you just make it and then throw it to whatever, and then it will start generating electricity. And also the devices can be tailored to different applications, such as this one. So it's actually made already, and then you can get it on Amazon. So this is camp boiler. So you can actually, when you're boiling water with gas, I suppose, down there, you can actually start charging a phone. So of course, we're not doing that yet because we're still facing some challenges. So one of the challenges that is quite obvious, which is we're facing a low conversion efficiency. And we usually use ZT as a measurement of conversion efficiencies. So in the older days, we can make materials with ZT around 0.7, which is quite commonly available now. And around the 2000s, we consider materials with ZT around 1 as the standard. And more recently, you can see the standard is going to reach ZT around 2. Although the industry will still want something that's higher than that, which is higher than 3 for scale-up energy harvesting purposes. So most of the research efforts are still focused on improving the conversion efficiencies, of course. And a good material needs to conduct electricity well and also conduct heat poorly. So if you think about it, take let's say metal wires. So you can probably think about, when a metal wire gets heat up, it conducts electricity very well. That's all we know. But when we, let's start heating up a copper wire, the other end gets heat up very fast. So it's actually also a very well heat conductor. So you can see that good thermoelectric materials are not common ones. And that's what I've been trying to make. So here are some ways to improve the efficiency of these materials. So just like, making a meal, cooking is chemistry. So let's start with what parent material that I want to make. For me, it's called a class of compounds called scutarides. So just like you decide what meat to eat, per se, say chicken, I guess. So we can add in dopants like carbon, chromium, nickel, just like how we make stainless steel. So we can add salt, pepper, parsley, and olive oil to a dish, try to marinate it. And then we also think about how we're going to cook it, which is one of my projects now. So we make materials by melting and annealing, hot pressing and quenching. And just like how you decide to actually cook your chicken, so maybe you want to do deep frying or air frying or even baking. So all of these material processing methods would also change the chemistry of your dish. And both of these considerations end up changing the taste of the dish. So that's equivalent to change in the material properties. So, and then we taste and test these materials and then understand these changes with physics and computations. I believe Marco can help me with that. So next up, the next question is the material stability in its operation, which is quite obvious because we want the device to keep working forever, doesn't break. So some criteria would be the ability to withstand heat cycling, because when you, let's say, put it in an oven, you keep heating up the oven and then cooling it back down when you're not using. And then also we want the material to maintain its efficiency. And it's also hard to break, quite obvious. And then the material's decomposition. So the last challenge that I'm going to put it out here is the feasibility for mass production. So let's say the first one, also quite obvious, is the toxicity of these materials. So that's a good thing to consider, because say I'm going back to cooking. So let's say if you cook for a family, you want to think about some healthier options. So let's say chicken wings, instant noodles, and mac and cheese are great, but then you probably don't want to eat it every day because it's not as healthy. It's a bit of extreme comparison to toxic materials, but then it's sort of equivalent to making materials using benign or less toxic materials. So take lead telluride as an example. It is actually known to perform very well as a thermoelectric material, but then it contains lead, which can be quite toxic. Next up, of course, the money and time to make these devices. So let's say we have a budget for our groceries. On top of that, when you get home from work, you probably have 1 or 2 hours to make your food for your family before they get too hungry. And also, you probably don't want to make the dish if it's too labor intensive or it's too hard to make. So all of these would matter. So how are you going to make it? How long do we need to make it? And even the failure chances of your cheesecake, I guess. Okay, So let's recap. I'm sure a lot of us have heard about the 3R concept, which is reduce, reuse, and recycle. So we can reduce the energy we use, like everyone started doing, I hope. Not much about reusing energy yet, but now it seems like recycling is feasible using thermoelectric materials. So let's hope on top of recycling passing papers, we can start recycling energy soon. Thank you.